This hadith is a warning against simply spreading information without verifying it. And this is a principle we see in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. And how easy has it become in the times that we're living in today for information to spread without it being verified? How many times people will make tweets, posts, will spread things on WhatsApp, people will fabricate videos, will cut videos out and make a whole story about a person, and it will be spread around and people will believe it. There's so many times I've personally seen where a 1 minute clip or a 2 minute clip will be spread around, and you will be convinced this person is a'udhu billah, Allahu musta'an, look at what they're saying. But when you actually search and actually do your homework and find out what the real story is, and you see the full video, you'll find out that the whole thing is fabricated. They might have cut clips from a different place, from different parts, and put it together, and they just edited the whole thing, and the person was actually saying something that is correct, but because people wanted to shame them or whatever it might be, and fabricate and make a lie about them, they completely fabricate a video about them, and everybody's spreading it. People don't even verify. They get a video message on their phone, they watch it, a'udhu billah, they spread it to a group they're in, 100 people. The other one spreads it again. No verification, nothing. That's not the way the Muslim is supposed to be, right? Especially when it comes to talking about people now, right? And it's dealing with people's honor and people's status and people's reputation. You can't simply just spread the rumor and keep it going. That's what society pushes, right? We live in this tabloid society where it's all about exposing people and, did you hear what happened to so and so? Did you hear what happened to this individual, this athlete, this celebrity, this politician, this person in the community? And people are just spreading it without no verification, right? That happens online. That happens in person. Somebody comes to you and they tell you something in confidence, in private, between you and them, and then the person goes to another person and says, "Ya akhi, I have something to tell you, but it's a secret thing. Keep it between us." You've already told the person. How do you know this person is going to hold on to it? You couldn't even hold on to it yourself. You couldn't even keep the secret from the person telling you. He told you keep it between us, and you here telling them, "Ya akhi, khaliha bayni wa baynak," and you tell him, let it stay between us, and you're telling him as well. The whole community knows that. It's a done deal. Everybody knows about that. It's out of the bag now, right? No, there's that sense of being diligent is not there anymore, right? So everything you hear, you want to pass it on, right? And there's some people, Allah is, it's an ibtila. Some people are just like that. They want to be known to be the person that is the report, right? Spreading the news. There are people on social media who are actually famous for that. Right? They are known to be, they're the breaking news person. If I want breaking news, I'm going on Twitter to find so-and-so. Because they're always bringing hot new takes every single time. Have they verified it? Is it true? Is it not? Allahu A'lam. And many times it might be that the reality of what they're saying is the opposite. The reality of the situation is the complete opposite of what they're spreading. And you guys know what I'm talking about, because it's a reality that we're living in. كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ كَذِبًا أَن يُحَدِّثَ بِكُلِّ مَا سَمِعَ. The Prophet ﷺ said, it is sufficient, or it is enough for a man to prove himself a kadhab and a liar when he goes on spreading and narrating every single thing that he hears. So from the tarbiyah of the Muslim is that you have to be somebody that verifies. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِن جَاءَكُمْ فَاسِقٌ بِنَبَإٍ فَتَبَيَّنُوا فَتَثَبَّتُوا. You have to verify and make sure that this is actually thabit and actually correct, or else you're going to be just spreading lies and you're part of spreading the rumor mill, right? That's what they call it even online, the rumor mill, right? It's an entire machine that just keeps on moving rumors. People, we've embraced it, right? The rumor mill is normally used more often as a sports terminology in sports news, but it's with everything, to even regular news. On the rumor mill today, and they're bringing all these things, and 90% of it might not even be true. And we've normalized it, and it's part of our psyche now. Wallahu al-musta'an.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam Rasulullah wa ba'd. In the name of Allah, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon his last and final messenger. As to what follows, family, friends, foes, haters, and hatettes, welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love with no hatred in my heart. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we have a lot of haters up in here. And today's topic is actually quite the serious topic, inshallah. All right, I want to give salams first to Dika Adam. I want to give salams to Bilal. All right, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to both of you. All right, this topic right here, in my humble opinion, right, I'm not a sheikh, not an alim, right, but when I heard this news, at first I thought, well, maybe this is like a joke, right? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Aussie 12. Okay. At first I thought it was like a joke or something like that, but it turns out it's real. This story came out a couple of days ago, right, about the Earth's core suspectedly has stopped spinning. And on this channel, if you check some of the older videos, we talk about some of these prophecies that are not being mentioned, and we don't know why. I'm not sure why people are not mentioning these prophecies. We've mentioned, for example, the drying of the Euphrates River, right? Something that happened within the last couple of years. And back in when I first became Muslim, we weren't expecting the Euphrates River to dry, but now it's dried. It's dried, and that's something that the Prophet ﷺ, he predicted. We also mentioned about the gold being found underneath the Euphrates River, also another prophecy that the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned explicitly. We talk about some older prophecies. All of these are relating to the last day, the day of judgment. Okay, may Allah reward you and bless you and multiply it for you 10,000-fold. Ameen. Everybody say Ameen for Brother Bilal. Ameen. Ameen. Thank you so much for your generosity. And yeah, and here's another thing. That's the other thing I found out recently, that the Chinese says they did a study. They said it stopped spinning in 2009. Right? That is verifiable. Right? So, but now it's becoming big news. Why? Because why is it becoming big news? Because the reason why they suspect the Earth's core to stop spinning was because of the intensity of earthquakes. And why is this important for Muslims? Well, first of all, okay, according to these science and these studies, right, if the Earth's core has stopped moving, this is something that is catastrophic for people on Earth. Why? It can have disastrous consequences because the Earth's magnetic field will eventually weaken, and this would cause the Earth's weather to change dramatically. And in addition to that, it will cause significant geological changes, such as a rise in intensity and amount of earthquakes and volcanic activity. And why is this important for us Muslims? And this is why us Muslims, we are the ones who need to be taking these prophecies to the entire planet and letting the people know we should be using these prophecies as dawah tools. One of the easiest ones that pretty much every Muslim should know is the Hadith of Jibril. From the prophecies in the Hadith of Jibril, when Jibril was asking the Prophet Muhammad about, what are the signs of the last day, and Prophet Muhammad he said, that the slave girl will give birth to her Lord. The slave woman will give birth to her Lord. And we said, well, I said anyways, right? This is my personal opinion. I believe this is a literal prophecy that literally happened, because this literally happened to black folk during the transatlantic slave trade, where particularly in the Southern American parts, like Brazil and whatnot, that if a white slave master would have relations with his black slave, then that slave now would give birth to a child, and that child would enjoy freedoms that the mother did not enjoy. And we have to look at the hadith. Why did the Prophet said, until the amatu rabbat? Why didn't he say amatu wa abid, or the male slaves and the female slaves? Why did he restrict it to the female slaves? Well, if you look at this transatlantic slave trade, this phenomenon was specifically restricted to female slaves. That's what we said. Anybody can look this up. It's not like it's hidden knowledge. It's something that's very well known. And the other one is that the Prophet says, he also mentioned that right? That you will see that the poor, barefoot, destitute Arabs, the shepherds, right, will compete with each other in building long, tall, lofty buildings. This is a literal prophecy, right? And if you look at the order of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned the slave girl first, and then he mentioned the Arabs competing to build these tall buildings. So if you look at the timelines, right, he mentioned this first in order, and then that first, and then that second, right? So these are prophecies that are happening right now. But the prophecy about the Euphrates River didn't happen 30 years ago. That wasn't going on 30 years ago. Nobody was suspecting the Euphrates River to be dried up 30 years ago. That is recent. And that is happening now. And the prophecy about the gold, that's happening now. And the prophecy about Yemen and Sham, and what's the other region? Nudge, like the Iraqi region, the Iraq region, being, basically they're going to lose their stability. That's happening now, where their currency won't be worth anything. These are things that are happening right now as we speak. Okay, so now we have this thing, and let me just see if I can share this thing from CNN. Actually, no, I'm not going to share it because my internet connection right now is bugging, right? I don't want to lose this connection. So let me just read it out for you, right? But you guys can look this up, okay? It's like a news that came out just a few days ago. Okay, and this article is in CNN. It came out on the 26th of January. Okay, so not very long ago. The rotation of the Earth's inner core may have paused and could even go into reverse, new research suggests. Okay, that's CNN saying this. Okay, the inner Earth's core may have paused and could even go into reverse. Okay, the Earth is formed by the crust, the mantle, and outer cores. The solid inner core is situated about 3,200 miles below the Earth's crust, and is separated by a semi-solid mantle. By the liquid outer core, which allows the inner core to rotate at a different speed from the rotation of the Earth itself. With the radius of almost 2,200 miles, the Earth's core is about the size of Mars, but mostly consists of iron and nickel and contains about 1/3 of the Earth's mass. In a research published by journal Nature Geoscience on Monday, Yi Yang, associate research scientist in Peking University, and Zhao Dongsong, Peking University chair professor, study seismic waves from the earthquakes that have passed through the Earth's inner core along the past since the 1960s to infer how fast the inner core is spinning. What they found was unexpected, they said. They said they were not expecting to find this. Since 2009, seismic records, which have previously changed over time, showed little difference. This, they said, suggests that the inner core rotation had paused. We show surprising operation that indicate the inner core has nearly ceased its rotation since a recent decade and may be experiencing a turning back, they wrote in the study. So anyway, I don't want to read. You can all read these articles. They're all over online. You can check them out yourself, right? But let's see if we can get into 1 second. Let me just scroll down here. Let me see if 1 second. No, it's not detailed enough. But from scientific studies of this, right, they say that the Earth's core spinning, ceasing to spin, will cause, as you mentioned, earthquakes and geological disasters and these type of things. And we are seeing a rise of earthquakes as we speak. We've seen recently, I've never experienced in my life so many earthquakes in a week, right? Where you have the 7.9 on a Richter scale, followed by a 7.5 in Turkey, which affected not just Turkey, but also Syria. We had and on the same day, there was an earthquake, I believe, in Cuba or Mexico or somewhere in South America. And there was another earthquake recently. I can't remember where. But the Earth right now is basically having a lot of earthquakes. What does this have to do with prophecy? Well, the Prophet ﷺ said, okay, and this is in both Bukhari and Muslim, right? That the Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not be established until earthquakes increase in number. The hour will not be established until earthquakes increase in number. So why are not the Muslims looking at this? I'm just saying. I think that we should be looking at this very, very seriously. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. I'm saying we should look at this very, very seriously, and we should be the ones in the forefront talking about these hadith. The Prophet ﷺ said the hour will not come until the ground swallows up people. If you look in Kenya right now, this was kind of like old news, but it's being resurfaced since those earthquakes. There's a massive, look up the Kenyan crack, where people are suspecting that this crack that happened in Kenya will divide Africa into pieces. Look that up. All this stuff is happening in our lifetime. Y'all hearing me? This is like some serious stuff. And furthermore, it should be a wake-up call, especially for the Muslims, not for their own selves and for their own family, but to call the people to Allah. To call the people to Allah. Because it's very obvious that we are not far off until the end times. You know, one of these hadith is related to a Dajjal. Okay? And the Prophet says, let me just get the hadith one time so I could just read it for you, okay? The Prophet he said that the time of the Dajjal, right? When he comes, he will have a day, his period will be 40 days. And one day will be like a year, and one day will be like a month, and then one day will be like a week, and then the rest of the days will be like your normal days. Okay, the Prophet said this. Even at those times, you know, you can imagine hearing this as a Sahaba in the desert somewhere with no science or nothing like that. This sounds crazy, but he's the messenger of Allah, and he comes with the truth. Now, these folks are telling you that the Earth core has stopped moving and is possibly going to go in reverse, which will do what? Which will do what to the rest of the Earth? It will cause it to slow down, correct? And do you not see how I'm just making some ta'wil. I'm being honest. I'm making ta'wil, okay? I'm making some interpretation, right? But do you see how now, if the Earth's core spins in the opposite direction, how one day can be like a year, and then one day can be like a month, and then one day be like a week, and the rest of the days will be like normal days? Can you see how that works? Can you see how that works? Hayakallah, may Allah bless you and reward you and multiply it for you 10,000-fold. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Sake for Prez. Everybody say ameen for sake of Prez. May Allah reward you for your generosity. Ameen. Ameen. But do you not see how that can work? Years ago, everybody say ameen for sake for Prez. Don't be lazy, y'all. Everybody say ameen for sake for Prez. And ameen for Brother Bilal. Thank you, Brother Badgie. Thank you. All right. Look at here. Years ago, before any of this information, okay, Bilal Phillips, Dr. Bilal Phillips, he wrote a book, okay? I can't remember which book it's in, but he mentioned about the Dajjal. I think it was, in fact, about the Dajjal. He wrote a book about the Dajjal, right? And he's writing about the Dajjal. And then one of the things that he mentioned in this book was that on the day of judgment, the sun will rise from the west. Because you can imagine, just hearing that the Prophet ﷺ saying the sun is rising from the west and whatnot. Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Brother Nakib. Okay? You could imagine like the sun rising from the west. It sounds weird, right? It just sounds strange, right? Just the regular, even up to now, it sounds funny. It sounds something that's like strange. But one of the things that he said in his book, this could possibly happen by somehow the earth switching its rotation and turning in the opposite direction. He said that in his book way back. way back. And as a matter of fact, it was Bubs and them who started refuting him for his ta'wil. But now, does it look so funny if the Earth's core is spinning in the opposite direction? Hayakallah, may Allah reward you and bless you and multiply it for you 10,000-fold. Ameen, ameen, ameen. Dika Adam, ameen. Everybody say ameen for Dika Adam. Ameen, 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 ameen. And may Allah bless you too. Ameen, ameen. And may Allah bless all of you. Ameen, and everybody say ameen in the chat, please. This is not a joke. This is a very, very, very serious thing. It's a very serious thing, and we should all be right now sitting with our families first, our kids, explaining to them these ahadith, and we should be visiting each other and telling each other about these ahadith and reflecting on these ahadith. And not only that, we should be using it in our dawah, because these are very potent, clear prophecies with no dust on them. They're not ambiguous prophecies. It's exactly how the Prophet ﷺ always describing it. You can't interpret it any other way. You get me? These prophecies are real, and it's really happening really right now. So when you reflect on all these prophecies that just come up, imagine a whole 1400 years passed, and then one by one, all these prophecies coming up in our lifetime. All of this, just one by one, like one right after the other, after the other. And during our lifetime. And what did the Prophet say? Something he said about the last days and these prophecies. Did he not say they will come one right after the other? Did he not say that? Did not the Prophet say that these prophecies that are coming one right after the other, did he not describe them as they will be coming one right after the other? Just like if you cut beads from a chain, the beads will just fall one right after the other, like dominoes. Yeah, like beads. Okay, it says there's the issue of the moon starting to distance itself from the Earth, which affects the speed of the Earth's orbit, and the Earth will spin faster. Time constricting is a prophecy. Yeah, the Prophet says something that he mentioned that time will seem to move faster. And we could also add to that technology in itself is restricting people's time. Just the technology in itself. The way that we use technology, it restricts our time. There's no barakah in the time anymore because we relieve our boredom with entertainment as opposed to reading books, hunting, fishing, doing something useful, building a building, these type of things. We relieve our boredom with entertainment. And one of the evil effects, I have to say it like this, but one of the evil effects of easily accessible information is intellectual laziness. Intellectual laziness, where people now, and it's very shameful that Muslims have involved themselves in this, but instead of actually putting in the work to study or whatnot, all you do is Google. Okay? All you do is Google. And you will have entire arguments based upon Google. Furthermore, the people who have put in the work, you don't respect that. You respect the people that are telling you what you want to hear based upon the algorithms. So this is real. This is really happening, really, like right now. The minor signs are all done. The minor signs of Day of Judgment finished. Khalas. I don't see any more minor signs. So now it's all about the big ones. From the signs of the hour is that the knowledge will not be taken from the people just by the taking of knowledge from the moving of knowledge from the hearts, but rather from the death of who? The ulama. The ulama. And then the people will put these ignorant youth in front of them and take them as leaders, and they will lead themselves astray and the others astray. As Bilal says, the Ruwaybada. The Ruwaybada. The Ruwaybada are your YouTubian da'i elites. I said it. Okay? I want to make sure I said it before anybody. That's the Ruwaybada. It's them. It's those folks. Those are your Ruwaybada. When your scholars die, when they're already replacing the ulama right now, as we speak. And scholars are still alive. And they ain't going to be alive much longer because scholars are dropping like flies and ain't nobody around to replace them. Like, I don't see their replacements around. Put it that way. I don't see when Sheikh bin Baz and Sheikh Albani and Sheikh Uthaymeen rahimahullah, when those three died, we had a lot of ulama around still, but nobody could replace those three, right? But we still had a lot of ulama, so many ulama around, even after they passed. Now, the last of Sheikh Albani's students, they're almost all gone. His students. Just his students. Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah, nobody knows his students. They're almost all gone. Okay. You still have Sheikh Salih Fawzan, but how many ulama have died in the last decade? Even just through COVID. How many ulama died just through COVID? And even still, the general Muslim, for the passing of all these ulama, the general Muslim don't know who they are anyways. They wasn't listening to them. They was listening to your YouTubian da'i elites. This is from prophecy. You don't need to go through the headache and heartache and turmoil to become an Islamic personality in our time. You don't need to do that anymore. There is a very lazy fast track to become an Islamic personality in our time. It's called social media. And anybody who can build a large social media platform will be the leaders, the thought leaders in the Muslim society, because the Muslims will follow that. So much so that even your conferences, your so-called Islamic conferences, are putting YouTubian da'i elites as keynote speakers, people who have not studied anything in Islam, but they got YouTube channels. This is the consequence of too much easily accessible information. When you don't have to work for something, you don't appreciate it. But when you have to work to get knowledge, when you have to work to get it, then you start appreciating it more. And because people have made this Islamic knowledge easily accessible on the internet, just to make it easy for the people to access it, you have nefarious elements who understand algorithms very well. And they don't need to know the religion. All they have to know is how to pitch the algorithm. That's it. And they have the power to control the thought of not just thousands, not just hundreds of thousands, but millions of Muslims. Millions. Ruwaybada. The Ruwaybada. Are y'all hearing this? It's happening as we speak. So now here's another one with the Earth's inner core moving. I'm like, stop moving. It just stop moving. Yes, Brother Hanif, we're live right now. We are live right now. The Earth's core stopped moving. All y'all are hearing this. Walaikum salam Wahid. Walaikum salam Hanif. Okay? And from the Earth's core stopping moving, from the consequences of this is that you get a rise in earthquakes, as the Prophet ﷺ, as he predicted. Exactly as he predicted. A rise in earthquakes, a rise in volcanic activity. Not only that, but as we mentioned, and as these scientists are saying, the Earth's core is possibly spinning the opposite direction. So when the Dajjal comes and the Earth's core is spinning the opposite direction that it normally spins, do you not see how that can cause one day to be like a year, one day to be like a month, one day to be like a week, and the rest of the days to be like normal days? Do you not see how that can be connected? Do you not see how that can be connected? So what is upon you, upon all of us, not just you, me too, okay? And I appreciate y'all if you can remind me in private as well, right? And in public, if I make a mistake. And believe me, anybody who knows me, right? If you know me personally, if you correct me in private or public, I'm the type of person I will accept it. Ala rasi, as the Arabs say, ala rasi, on my head, ala khashmi, on my nose. No problem. I have no issues. If you correct me with the Quran and the Sunnah, and the understanding of the Salaf, I will take it like instantly. You get me? However, here's the thing. If this is happening now, and we can see all of these signs happening right before our eyes, do we really have time to be arguing with each other about subsidiary things? Do we have time for that? Or should we be in the process of not just protecting ourselves, but protecting our families? This is the time that you need to prepare yourselves for what is coming. If you are people who read the Quran, then you know there's a surah in the Quran called Surah al-Yusuf. Surah al-Yusuf. And in this surah, Yusuf was order to interpret a dream from the king. Okay, the king is a non-Muslim. You're not Muslim. Okay, but he heard about Yusuf and his dream interpretations. So the king was having this dream. It was causing him problems. He's having this reoccurring dream, and in his dream, he saw 7 fat cows. Okay, and then 7 skinny cows. And then these 7 skinny cows went to the 7 fat cows and devoured these 7 fat cows and still remained skinny. So he asked Yusuf about this dream. And you know what Yusuf told this king? He said, this dream means that you are going to have 7 years of prosperity. And that 7 years of prosperity is going to be followed up by 7 years of famine. So what you should do is you should prepare yourself for that 7 years of famine. And that's what he did. Are you guys preparing for the day, what's coming, for the Dajjal that's coming? His infrastructure is already laid out. The Prophet ﷺ, he already gave you all the prophecies that you need to know that he's coming. Are we about preparing, or are we about chilling now? Are we still about that chilling stuff? That arguing with people on Facebook and stuff. We still about that? And that even the kuffar scientists are telling you the Earth's core is spinning in the opposite direction now. And of course, anybody can look this up right now and look up what the scientists are saying between the relationship of the Earth's core stop moving and the rise of earthquakes. Go look it up. Don't listen to me. Just go look it up, please. Okay? But anyways, I got to go to work. I want to thank y'all for joining me. I want to thank Brother Saik for press. Hayakumullah, may Allah reward you and bless you and multiply it for you 100,000-fold. Brother Bilal, may Allah reward you and multiply it for you 100,000-fold. And Dika Adam, may Allah reward you and bless you and multiply it for you 100,000-fold. And may Allah bless you all. Thank you all for participating with me and on this impromptu live, right before work. I got to go to work though. Okay. But share this video, like, subscribe, share, and get your Muslim da'is to talk about this, because this is very, very serious. It's not a joke. It's serious, and we need to be talking to each other and our families and everybody about this, and we need to be using this as a tool for dawah. Subhanaka wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.